come here to Matley Wood today to meet with two of our volunteers from the Hampshire Ornithological Society who are doing our Woodlark Survey for 2024, and we're just going to meet up and see some of the areas that they're surveying and talk about how the survey is going and see what woodlark we have around. They're a small brown bird. They have a bit of a crest on their head, lovely beige eye stripe, and they put their nest on the ground, but they like really open grassland areas. But they need that scrub edge habitat as well for their feeding. They go and glean insects off the trees, and they will roost in the trees and rest in there when they're not nesting.
I particularly aim for the areas that have got the right type of habitat, and then I spend time listening. So I use my ears really more than my eyes, and I'm listening out for that amazing woodlark song, all their contact calls. So walk very slowly across an area. So altogether I've got like a kilometre square that I have to cover, and so I'll walk through really slowly, listening out. And then as soon as I hear or even see a bird, then I'll stop and then record where I've seen it or heard it.
And have you had any luck this morning?
Well, yes, actually, funnily enough, there was one right at the top of that tree just there, that silver birch tree, and it was singing and obviously trying to attract the attention of its partner.
We have the high level stewardship scheme in the New Forest, which we're really lucky because it's able to fund the surveys for the ground nesting birds. And we do that over a 5-year rolling programme. I think the contribution of volunteers to the surveys and the work that we're doing in the New Forest is absolutely vital. It's a huge amount of resource that you need to put in to cover such a big area. We've got over 3,000 hectares of heathland.
There are 100 Hampshire Ornithological Society volunteers. And between us, we've got 300 1-kilometre squares, all within the New Forest. Because I'm coordinating the whole survey of woodlarks in the New Forest, I'm going about to lots of different places to see where the volunteers have been reporting sightings, to check to see what the places look like. Well, this particular spot is ideal, so it's no surprise that woodlarks have been seen, and then I might go to somewhere else and see a different kind of habitat, and it enables me to get a sense check of how things are going across the whole of the New Forest. So it's a fascinating project actually. A lot of sightings, a lot of good data coming in. Naomi says you get a feel for where they are, so you can go for a long walk and you arrive somewhere and you think actually this looks, there must be some woodlarks here. And then when you do find one, that it's yes.
If we want to keep ground nesting birds in the New Forest, we really need to make sure we've got the best habitat we can possibly have that will support them. And it is about having a range of different habitats, a whole mosaic. So we've got everything from the very short bare ground grass that we talked about earlier, which the woodlark like, and then we've got some structure with gorse and heather growing that the Dartford warblers like, and then we've got trees and scrub that the other species like Nigel and all our woodland birds need. So we need that whole mosaic, and we need it all quite intricately spread around the forest. So we're really lucky in the New Forest, so we have loads of heathland, but actually at national level we have very little heathland, and certainly internationally we have very limited lowland heathland, and so it's really important that we do all we can to get all of the heathland that is possible to be in the New Forest back to its best condition. There are lots of rarities that need heathland habitat, and woodlark and Dartford warbler and Nigel, these are all species that need heathland habitat, and they'll benefit from this. And when we first cleared this site, we took the trees off in the winter. The very next summer we had woodlark nesting here, and we had 2 pairs nesting just in this area behind me.
I think I was interested in woodlark because the first time I heard them I was out on my own running, and I heard this bird, and it was just it stopped me, and I thought that's an amazing sound. So I dragged my husband and children out the next morning, really early in the morning, and we all sat there and listened to it. And then we spent days trying to work out what it was and identify it on the internet. And when we did, and we looked it up and found out, that it was quite rare and how special it was. And then after that, I started looking up some of the other birds that I could hear, and you start to realise that there are so many birds and insects and mammals that the New Forest is almost like a last refuge for them.
My advice for anybody who is coming to New Forest and who's interested in wildlife, wants to protect it, probably two things. When you're out and about, look at the signs that are there, because quite often there's a recommendation to stay on the main track. So if there is a main track, then use that. So that means there's islands of undisturbed area for the birds. And then, if you've got dogs, try not to let them go dashing about all over the place.
My top tip would be to choose one species, go home, look it up on the internet, learn its sounds, its calls and its contact calls and its song, and then come out for a walk and really listen and see whether you can hear it. Once you know what you're listening for and you hear it, then you can't help but hear it all the time. And it's just then becoming aware of what is around you. Because I think it's very easy to walk through and not actually realise what's here.